Hello, and welcome back to Gateway to Homeworld. I am Ragnax, and we are on the flight deck. So let's go east. So we are back in the main part of the ship. To our right is the cryo capsule that I slept in for the last few months. Let's see, open cabinet. Let's take everything. Let's see. Radio. You are 4 months and 446 billion kilometers away from the attack force of the Sec terrorists. You are on board an alien starship. You don't have much need for a two-way battle radio right now. Fair enough. Bandage taken. Hypo unit taken. Your score has gone up by 5. Autodock taken. File taken. Your score has gone up by 5. Okay, let's look at everything. Look at bandage. It's a white skin seal TM bandage. It is a rectangular patch of gauze about 1.5 meters long and 10 centimeters wide. Okay, look at hypo. This is a multi-purpose hypodermic drug dispenser. It is tapered metal cylinder about 15 centimeters long. On the side of the cylinder you see a toggle switch, a blue dial and a green dial. Both dials have a number of different settings. The glowing LED next to the blue dial is displaying the following information. Drug selected, insulin. Dosage selected, 0 cc. Quantity remaining, 5.0 cc. Let's see what drugs I have. Look at... so there's a blue dial and a green dial. Let's look at the blue dial. Aha! Above the blue dial is the word medication. The dial has several settings. Insulin, adrenaline, antiviral, antibiotic, antitoxin, tissue regenerator, and sedative. The dial is currently set to 0, insulin. According to the LED next to the medication dial, there is 5.0 cc of the drug available for use in the hypo. Let's look at the green dial just to find out what it does. Look at green dial. Above the green dial is the word dosage. The dial itself has several settings. 0 cc, 0.1 cc, 0.2 cc, 0.3 cc, 0.4 cc, and 1 cc. Max. The dial is currently set to 0 cc. And according to the LED, next to the medication dial, the selected drug is insulin, and there is 5 cc of the drug available for use in the hypo. Okay, look at Autodoc. This is the Autodoc cuff, a diagnostic computer that looks like a blood pressure cuff with a small digital readout. The readout is dark. And look at vial. This is a very small vial made of glass. There is some clear fluid inside. A label on the vial reads Alcohol C2, Bristol Johnson Incorporated. Alcohol plus C2 disinfectant. Warning, contents are extremely flammable. Keep away from fire. So apparently I have a disinfectant liquid as well as disinfectant in my hypo unit. I probably prefer to use the hypo if I get infected. Especially if I get infected near a fire. Let's open the door. You hear a brief whine while the air inside the probe ship is cycled out and outside air is cycled in. A chime sounds and the hull door slides open. Yay! Let's get out of here. Let's look around. You peer out of the door. 1 meter below the threshold of the hull door, you see a glowing blue metal deck, part of a circular entrance that seems to be the alien equivalent of a jetway. The jetway is centered over the probe ship's hull door. You take a deep breath and jump down onto the alien metal, which feels quite solid underfoot. Corridor. Ooh, music change. Corridor. The corridor is about 10 meters long. One end connects to the hull door of your probe ship. The other end terminates in a heavy bulkhead. The walls of the corridor and the bulkhead seem to have an underlying structure of rectangular metal plates covered by clumps and veins of lumpy, melted-looking metal. The metal glows with a soft blue radiance that is bright enough to illuminate the corridor. A metal door is set into the bulkhead to the north. It is closed. Well, let's open it then. The ancient machinery grinds to life and the door slides open. Convenient! North. You go through the bulkhead doorway. Corridor. There is another long corridor illuminated by diffused blue light radiating from the walls, ceiling, and floor. The walls are covered with the same pattern of rectangular plates and organic-looking spidery veins of metal that you have seen before. The corridor runs north to south. North! Cargo bay. Oh, it's nice that we know this is a cargo bay. You are in a cavernous domed room, a vast cargo bay that is elliptical in shape. The half-mechanical, half-organic architecture of the race that built this ship is evident here. Covered with curvilinear, melted patterns, the cargo bay walls are buttressed by heavy structural beams that arch up and converge on a strange, egg-shaped pod directly overhead. A metal ladder leads up into the enclosure far above. Corridors lead off in several directions. Curvilinear, that's a really neat word. Let's see, where should we go? Man, there are a lot of ways out here. We can go southwest, west, northwest, north, northeast, east, or up. Let's start with... up? No, let's stay with this floor for now. So let's start with southwest and just go around clockwise. So, southwest. Corridor. This is another long corridor illuminated by the diffused blue light radiating from the walls, ceiling, and floors. The walls are covered with the same pattern of rectangular plates and organic-looking spidery veins of metal you've seen before. The corridor runs northeast to southwest. Okay, well, southwest. You wander down the corridor and find another heavy bulkhead door. This one is locked and refuses to open. You surmise that this is another docking port and that it is empty. You wander back. Okay. Northeast. West. You are in another glowing blue corridor that runs east to west. Dream room. This room is all swirls, curves, coils, and curvilinear patterns. In shape, it is a smaller, more circular version of the huge cargo bay to the east. The room is dominated by a large metal couch that extends from one of the walls. Poised somewhat threateningly over the couch is an articulated metal arm that is covered with wires and machinery. The arm ends in a round bulb that hovers a meter or so above the raised part of the couch. Now look at couch. Couch is disproportionately large and looks like an alien version of a doctor's examination table. The articulated arm extends from the ceiling, bending down over the couch so that the end of the arm is about a meter above the raised end of the couch. Look at arm. The articulated arm is thick, almost like a metal trunk, where it comes out of the ceiling of the domed room. It is covered with red wires and its joints bend so that the end of the arm is positioned over the raised end of the couch. Let's lie down on couch. Lie on couch. You lie on the metal couch. It is cold and uncomfortable. That is creepy. It's like an eyeball staring at me. Touch arm. Run your fingers over the articulated arm and feel nothing unusual. Close eyes. You don't need to use the word eyes in this game. Nap? But you have so many important things to accomplish. Okay, I guess we can't do anything here right now. So stand up. East. East. Let's try northwest. You are in another glowing blue corridor that runs northwest to southeast. Northwest. You bump against a heavy bulkhead door that is fused shut. You try to open the door with little success. Eventually you wander back. Southeast. Okay, north. Central corridor. You are in another long circular corridor that runs north to south. But there's something different about this one. Hanging from the ceiling of the corridor is a sensor of some kind. It looks like a malevolent eye. It does look like a malevolent eye. A black band scans back and forth like a mechanical pupil. Oh. Look at eye. The sensor eye hangs from the ceiling... Oh, creepy music. Hangs from the ceiling on a snake-like cable. The black pupil scans back and forth. A section of the corridor wall iris is open. You hear a strange click-clack, click-clack coming from inside the opening. The sound of metal claws on the surface of the deck. Seconds later, an enormous hulking robot fills the corridor. It walks in on 8 articulated metal legs that move with a kind of fluidity and grace you wouldn't associate with a machine of that size. The monstrous alien robot turns to face you, then stops. Let's leave this guy alone for now. Let's go back south. The robot begins to follow you, but stops at the threshold of the corridor. You are safe from the mechanical monster. Oh, then I guess it's a good thing I left, if it's a mechanical monster. Northeast. You are in another glowing blue corridor that runs northeast to southwest. You are in another long circular corridor. To the northeast, blocking further progress, is a heavy metal door set into the bulkhead. The bulkhead door is closed. On the wall next to the door is a keypad. Open door. The door appears to be locked. The keypad on the wall next to the door probably controls it. Look at keypad. Huh. Okay, well, I have no idea. Let's try the old Spaceballs code. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, nothing happens. Okay, well, we'll try and find a password, I guess, and come back. East. You're in another glowing blue corridor that runs east to west. Terminal room. You are in a small 8-sided room that is all straight lines and sharp angles. There is very little evidence of the curvilinear patterns that are so pronounced elsewhere on the ship. The walls and ceilings are covered with screens, lights, and mysterious controls. An uncomfortable-looking chair sits in front of the console. On the console is a main display screen and a keypad of some kind. Under the screen is an access panel. The exit is to the west. Okay. Look at panel. The panel underneath the terminal is a third of a meter on each side. The panel is closed. Okay, look at keypad. While the room is filled with screens, buttons, and lights, the most interesting terminal is the large screen sitting in front of an uncomfortable-looking chair. 12 buttons are arrayed in a line underneath the screen. You poke experimentally at a couple of buttons, but nothing happens. Okay, let's open the panel. You pull on the access panel. It slides open, revealing an intricate tracery of crystal fibers and pathways that emit a faint green light. In the center of the delicate crystal matrix is a jack or connector of some kind. Your score has gone up by 5. Okay, let's look at the matrix. Look at the matrix. Hopefully we will be able to know what the matrix is. Ha 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 ha. Behind the access panel is a recessed enclosure filled with delicate tracery of glowing crystal pathways. In the middle of the crystal matrix is an empty receptor for a connector of some type. Okay, look at receptor. The receptor jack has 3 holes positioned a few centimeters from each other in a triangle. Okay, well, I guess we'll keep an eye out for something that has 3 jacks or whatever. So west, and let's go up. You make the long climb from the deck of the cargo bay to an egg-shaped metal pod. Storage room. You are in what seems to be a small storage room inside the pod over the cargo bay. Even though the pod was egg-shaped from the outside, walls inside are square and angular. A ladder leads down through the opening in the floor to the cargo bay below. You see a woman in a corporation uniform slumped against one of the metal walls. Near one wall is a blue metal box and an upended metal bowl. Wow, she looks like she's seen better days. Look at woman. The woman is propped up against one of the metal walls. A name tag identifies her as Diana Tolson. While she doesn't appear to be unconscious, she is unaware of your presence. She is trembling violently, and her body is occasionally racked by seizures or spasms. Her skin has an unhealthy greenish cast to it. Her corporation uniform is ripped and tattered around her lower legs, where there is evidence of violent injury in the form of dried blood and angry-looking wounds. Angry wounds. Grrr. Okay, well, let's see what's actually wrong with her. Let's put the auto dock on her. On Diana. You strap the Autoduck cuff on Diana. It beeps and digital readout lights up with bright green letters and numbers. Okay, look at readout. Readout is displaying the following information. Pulse, 139. Temperature, 105.6 Fahrenheit. High fever. Blood pressure, 170 over 130. Ooh, that's not good. Warning, toxin present. Toxin type, unknown organic, possibly venom. Toxin level, 84.1% of fatal dose. White cell count very high, infection present. Ooh, okay, well let's look at blue dial. So, we're going to want to probably give her some antibiotics, which is 3, and some antitoxin, which is 4. So, turn blue dial to 4. And turn green dial to 1. Oh, not 1. Let's turn green dial to 5. Let's give her... She's at 84%. We need to give her some a big dose. And press toggle. You flip the toggle switch. A tiny diode on the switch lights up and starts flashing bright red. A moment later, you hear an almost imperceptible whine, and a needle emerges from the front of the hypo. Diana twitches and shudders. Inject Diana. You press the hypo against Diana's neck. Immediately upon contact, you hear a soft hissing sound as the selected drug, antitoxin, is injected directly into Diana's bloodstream. When you pull the hypo away, you see that the needle remains deployed, ready for another injection. Diana twitches and shudders. The Autodock beeps, and the display flickers as the toxin level declines rapidly. The new reading is 58.1. That's not bad at all. Let's turn blue to... Well, actually, no, let's make sure we don't need to give her any more first. Wait. The Autodock beeps, and the display flickers as the toxin levels decline rapidly. The new reading is 33.4. Wait again. The Autodock beeps and the display flickers as the toxin levels decline rapidly. The new reading is 10.0. Diana's body relaxes and the trembling and convulsions stop. The greenish cast fades from her skin, leaving it red and flushed. Her eyes open part way, but they look lost and feverish. Scorpions! A giant spider! She says brightly, and then begins muttering deliriously to herself. Your score has just gone up by 15. Okay, well, in that case, let's turn blue dial to 3. Turn the blue medication dial on the hypo to 3, setting for antibiotics. Inject Diana. You press the hypo against Diana's neck. Immediately upon contact, you hear a soft hissing sound as the selected drug, antibiotic, is injected directly into Diana's bloodstream. When you pull the hypo away, you see that the needle remains deployed, ready for another injection. Diana yells, "No! Stop! Don't!" at the top of her voice. The Autodock begins... that's the second time I said begins and beeps. The Autodock beeps and the display flickers as the temperature reading declines and the white cell count falls. The new temperature reading is 103.6. Wait. The Autodock beeps, display flickers as the temperature reading declines and the white cell count falls. The new temperature reading is 101.7. Diana's delirium begins to subside, and she slowly becomes aware of her surroundings. Diana shakes her head and slowly gets on her feet. As she stands up, you see a green crystal cube on the deck that had been previously covered by her body. Diana notices you for the first time and looks at you blankly for a second. Then her eyes widen. My God, you're human. You smile at her and nod. She stares at you and shakes her head sadly. I'm glad to see you, but I also feel sorry for you. You're just another fly caught in the web, and believe me, the analogy is a good one. I assume you're from Gateway. That's where Jack and I came from. I'm afraid you won't get to meet Jack. He was my partner, but now he's dead. Jack and I crewed a prospecting ship from Gateway. Our ship came out of town space next to this enormous artifact, and Jack and I had the same reaction. We're rich, rich, rich. We kept thinking that as the tractor beam locked on and pulled us in. We were deliriously, gloriously happy until we realized the controls on our ship had gone dead and that there was no way out of this thing. Oh, There's plenty of food and water. A dispenser down one of the corridors spits out chan food, or carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen blocks. Tasteless, but quite nutritious. Survival wouldn't be a problem if the ship, or whatever it is, weren't haunted by the spider. Along came a spider and sat down beside her. It's horrible. I think it's some kind of robot or Waldo unit. I know it isn't organic. The spider robot lives in the central corridors of the ship, the corridors that link the forward section of the vessel with the part we are in now. The spider only appears where there are sensor eyes hanging from the roof. I think the spider itself is blind, but it somehow uses those external sensors to see. Jack and I spent a number of months on board the ship, and we avoided the spider and stayed alive. Then we got a little cocky and our luck ran out. I saw the spider get Jack. We were exploring the front of the ship, and we got trapped. The spider came. It attacked him first. It cut the top of his head off. Then, when he was still alive, it stuck these probe things into his open skull, almost like it was drinking. When it finished and started after me, I ran away. God, it was awful. Anyway, now you're caught in the web too. I can fill you in on tricks of surviving here and tell you as much as I know about this place. Diana smiles gently and touches your sleeve. Thank you for bringing me back. I think I was pretty close to dying. You recover the green crystal cube from where Diana had been lying on it. Diana smiles at you. Your score has just gone up by 15. Look at just readout. The readout is displaying this information. Temperature 101.7 Fahrenheit. Fever. Blood pressure 137/97. The autodoc beeps and display flickers as the temperature reading declines and the white cell count falls. New temperature reading is 99.9. Look at readout. Pulse 91, temperature 99.9, fever, blood pressure 127/87. Let's just wait a bit more and look at readout. There we go. Pulse 85, temperature 98.6 Fahrenheit normal, and blood pressure 120/80. She is looking good. Let's take the auto doc. Let's talk to her. How you feeling? Diana smiles wanly. Wanly? Wanly. Wanly? I don't know. I'm feeling a whole lot better than I was. If you hadn't come along when you did, I'd be dead. It's hard to believe. Jack and I didn't see another soul for months, and yet you show up just in time to stop me from dying. How'd you get injured? Jack and I were exploring one of the zoo environments towards the front of the ship. The zoo was a barren, awful place full of stinging insect things. We got bitten and stung and decided to return to the aft part of the ship. When we got to the main corridor, the spider robot appeared out of one of the corridor walls and began moving towards us. Like I told you before, the robot isn't friendly. It was a mechanical nightmare. Back when we arrived on the artifact, Jack and I had seen the robot prowling the central corridors where the sensors are. We had always been able to avoid it. Then it went away for an extended period of time. We got cocky and took advantage of its absence to go exploring. Well, the robot hadn't actually gone away. It was lying in wait. We were right outside the insect zoo when it cornered us. Jack and I ran into the zoo, but we got trapped. We were getting stung and the venom built up until we were delirious. Finally, we decided we had to take our chances with the robot. It attacked us. Like I said before, it got Jack. I was injured trying to stop it from hurting him. I barely made it back here. I don't remember the trip. I was fading in and out of consciousness, bleeding from my leg wounds at the same time that the poison from the insect things acted on my system. That's the story of how I got hurt. Can we talk further? Sure. What are the zoos? Jack and I speculated that the ship is actually some kind of Hichi exobiology vessel. It wanders from star system to star system, searching for life-bearing planets and collects samples of their flora and fauna. The ship is filled with specimens gathered during the collection efforts. The specimens are kept in cleverly created reproductions of native environments, a lot like zoos or wildlife parks. How do I get into the zoos? Well, there are a couple steps. First, you need to get the portal key, a glowing red crystal rod that should be in the blue box on the floor here. Feel free to borrow it. I'm not going anywhere for a while. I'll stay here and recover. If you want to explore, that's fine, but count me out. Anyway, there are two ways you can get into the zoos. The first way is through the bulkhead door to the northeast. The second is straight up through the ship's central corridor. Jack and I went up the central corridor. It's a dangerous route. The spider robot lives there. The other path is easier, but you'll need the combination of the lock on the bulkhead door. I don't know the combination. Okay, tell me about the green cube. Jack and I found the green cube in the central corridor during our fateful exploration of the forward section of the ship. It was near an area that was covered with what looked like dried blood. I think another prospector was attacked by the robot and dropped the cube. I haven't had a chance to see how it might help me. Feel free to take it with you if you go exploring. Tell me about the bowl. I used the bowl to carry water. Tell me about Jack. Jack was a great guy. We signed up for Gateway together and agreed that we would ship out together on prospecting missions. We had made enough money from the two missions we had gone on previously. We had made enough money from the two missions we had gone on previously to retire. We decided to make one last trip to see if we could pay for full medical on both of us. That was a bad decision. Hindsight's 20/20. Well, I'm done chatting. Okay. Okay, well, let's open the box. In the blue box, you see a crystal rod. Your score's gone up by 5. Okay, well, let's take the rod. Take the crystal rod from the blue box. And let's take the bowl. You take the metal bowl, your score's gone up by 5. Cool. Let's go down. Actually, let's look at these things. Look at bowl. The metal bowl is about 15 centimeters wide. It's made of silver metal that looks a lot like it's of Earth origin. Look at rod. The crystal rod is about 20 centimeters long, 2 centimeters in diameter. Its surface is awash in cloudy patterns of red glowing light. Look at cube. This is a small green crystal cube covered on one side by a metal plate. 3 small pins protrude from the plate. Aha! 3 pins. Well then, let's see if it fits in the terminal room. You make the long descent from the pod back to the deck of the cargo bay. East. East. Let's see. Put cube in receptor. Huzzah! The 3 pins on the back of the cube fit neatly in the plug receptor on the crystal matrix. In the instant that the cube is seated, bright pulses of green light flow along the crystal pathways of the matrix. They flow from the sides to the middle, converging on the cube. They all arrive simultaneously, and the cube shimmers and glows as vibrant green light dances inside of it. A few seconds later, you hear a whir and a series of clicks. All the secondary display screens around you come to life with a flickering green pattern. The lights set into the ceiling begin to glow softly. And then there was life. Then the main screen on the console comes to life with a swirling pattern of hexagonal shapes. They are soon replaced by an animated graphic of 2 intertwined spinning hoops. The computer, if that's what this thing is, seems ready for business. And let's save here and check out this computer later. I think LP3. And we will... yeah, we'll check this in the next video. So, for now, I think I'll call it a video. So, have yourselves a good one, and we'll talk to you later. Toodaloo. I'm playing a game!